and thanks for joining us. My name is Sandy McDonald, and I'm the Director of the Office of Economic and Small Business Development here in Broward County. And we want to welcome you to our RISE Virtual Business Forum. We started RISE back in November of last year, and it's an opportunity for us to come to our business community, share what we hope is valuable information, and give you contacts that you can use as we were all navigating through COVID, preparing to transition out of COVID, and recognizing that for the business community, there's some special and some additional support services you may be in need of. And we get it. No matter what we say or no matter what we share, there will never be 100% the answer for everyone. But we have to make sure as much as possible, we give as much information. So you as an individual business, not a cookie cutter, but you as an individual business can begin to strategize and identify those resources that work for you. So this morning we got a series of speakers who most through organizations we're very familiar with here at Broward County. And one of the things I do want to say is that the individuals may be new to you, but their organizations should not be new to you. These are organizations that are here in Broward and here in the region, and they're here to service businesses like yours. And again, if we were on this call without boring you for 5 hours, we still would have more that we could share. So with that, I want you to recognize each presenter is only going to have about 10 to 15 minutes to try to give you some of the emphasis of who they are, what they do, and what's available. But because you will have access to their contact information, because you will have access to their websites, I'm hoping that you will listen, identify the resources that sound as if they could be of advantage to you, and I'm hoping you would follow up. And again, stay in touch with our office, because this is what we do. We recognize as government, we can't do everything, but with all of our community partners, and each of these organizations are truly one-on-one community partners with Broward County, we believe we can be of assistance, of substantive support to you as businesses here in Broward. So with that, you can go on to the next slide. We're going to introduce, I'm supposed to tell a little bit more about us. And I'm going to be brief today. This is our office, small business focused, working with entrepreneurs and small businesses and startups, educating to inspire them to do more and to come into our economy as businesses. And we're also on behalf of the county, we're a service agency. We work with all the agencies because in case you didn't know, one of the uniqueness about this office is we are responsible for assuring that at least 25% of what the county buys, we buy from certified small businesses. So at the end of the day, we're always pushing get certified. At the end of the day, we're always pushing learn more about the Broward County's Office of Economic and Small Business Development. And if you happen to provide a good material, service, or product that the county buys, you need to learn how to get certified and how to take advantage of that at least 25% of that competitive group of certified small businesses the county wants to buy from. So again, our information is up on our website. We have online certification. That's also brand spanking new. We have a calendar of events. So there's so much more that you need to know and you need to get a better understanding for. So this next slide is sharing more of that information. But again, from access to this office to bringing resources to you, that's a part of our day job. And this is what we want to continuously do. And again, get certified if you want to be a part of Broward County government's procurement. Next slide. So let's talk money. That's why we're here today. Let's talk resources. Let's talk access to money. Let's talk about some of the things, not embarrassing, but some of the things that you really need to know to put you and your business in position to get the resources that are available. And the good thing about these organizations, these aren't the organizations at the end of the day, from a lending perspective, I took your application, it didn't work, bye-bye. These are the type of organizations that on the front end, technical assistance and leading you in the right direction, telling you in advance what you need. Some even have programs to help you better your position for the resources you need. That's what we're looking for. Let's talk money just doesn't mean here you go, sign up, you got it. Let's make sure we can help you through financial literacy, be the business you truly want to be. so that whether another COVID or any other catastrophic scenario happens again, you're in position to have access to capital. So today we're going to have different organizations talking about different means of access to capital or funds or resources that may be available and might be perfect for your needs going forward. Next. Discussion topics, going to talk a little bit about 7A and their programs, learn more about the SBDC. You're going to understand a little bit more from Mr. Tart in the South Florida Regional Planning and what they have going on. You're going to learn, even by definition, probably what a CDFI is, that Community Development Financial Institution, and who's providing those services. And then you're also going to learn more about the National Development Council, who's also working with Broward, who's currently now in Broward, but they provide services all over the country, and they're also going to share more about their programs. Again, today is to put varying resources in front of you, hoping you can identify the one, the two, or the three that fits your need, and hoping we can connect you where you can follow up post today's presentations. Next slide. And with that, we'll take you to our first presenter, and I'd like to introduce you to Debra Salas, who is the lead lender and relations specialist for the SBA. Debra, the floor is yours, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Sandy, and well said, and I appreciate you all inviting me here today. I see some new faces, some old faces in the other presenters, and I'm excited to be among such great talented group here. So let's begin with what the SBA has to offer our small businesses. Next slide, please. Go ahead, you can change. So this is my role. I'm the lead lender relations specialist, and my role with the SBA South Florida District Office is to oversee and manage all the banking and lending and financial relationships for the district. Next slide. So let's talk about our flagship programs, our 7A. What can we offer small businesses? Well, we have, that's sort of like the large umbrella, right? And then underneath, we have so many different programs. We have our export programs, which I like to call our 7A on steroids, 90% collateral guarantee. We have different, all kinds of reasons why a small business will walk into a bank and need to get a 7A loan. They might need purchase a building, they might need inventory, equipment, payroll, they might want to refinance unreasonable debt, high interest debt, and get more favorable terms. They could be doing a change of ownership. So this program is really a wonderful program, and it's up to $5 million. The terms can range from, depending on the lender you use. But typically, if you're an SBA approved lender, then this is one of our very popular programs to help small businesses. Next slide, please. So let's talk about another flagship program we have, the 504. So just really macro level to help you all. This program is one of our most popular because it helps small businesses get into 90% financing. It's a partnership between the borrower, the bank, and the CDC. The CDC is a mission-based lender, and they would walk you through the whole process, come in at a 40% loan. The bank or an intermediary lender, as we call, would come in for 50%, and typically the borrower can come in at a 10% equity injection. Now, that being said, each bank or lender may require a different, setup or structure for you. So 10% is the minimum. However, you could come in with more, as they say. And this program is $5 million, can go up to $5.5 million for energy efficient or manufacturing. And the purpose of this program is to create jobs. It is one of our, like I said, flagship and most popular programs around. And this is for fixed assets like machinery, equipment, real estate. Next slide, please. So let's talk about our overall debt relief that we have. So for our flagship programs, our 7A, our 504, our microloan borrowers, these are borrowers that come in to get a small loan, maybe to start a business, $50,000 and under. So we have certain debt relief, and we have a great website that I want everyone to know about. It's SBA.gov/coronavirus relief. Now, on that website, you're going to see if you are a new SBA client, meaning you just closed the loan, and this month, starting February, we do cap it at $9,000, but you can get 3 months principal and interest that the SBA has been approved to pay. And then certain NAICS codes, depending on like restaurant industry, etc. That
Debra?
would be, yes.
Can you repeat? I think your audio is coming in and out.
Oh, sorry. Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay. So for new loans, meaning that you started in February, you closed this month and dispersed, we can pay up to 3 months principal and interest on an SBA loan. And then you can get, for certain NAICS codes, you can get an additional 5 months. Now, if you already have an SBA loan with us, we can pay up to 6 months principal and interest if you closed prior to September 30th, 2021. So we have all kinds of programs to help small businesses, either that already have a loan with us or they're looking to get a new loan with us, some payment relief, which is a great option for lots of small businesses. Next slide, please. So this is just to show you the difference between our loan programs and our grant programs. Some people get confused and they don't understand which loans they have to pay back and which loans are a grant. I'm going to talk a little bit about each briefly. Next slide, please. So we have the PPP First Draw. This is for small businesses that never received a PPP loan originally, right? When we ended August 8th, this past year, we now opened it up for new businesses that never got it. And so we have additional entities that are covered. We expanded the eligible covered expenses. Borrowers can now set their own covered period, meaning it no longer has to be 8 weeks or 24 weeks, can be week 13 if that is strategically viable for you. Certain borrowers can now request an increase in the original PPP loan. That isn't for everybody, just so you know, there are some restrictions on that, but there is an ability to do that now. Must have been in business prior to February 15, 2020. You must apply on or before March 31st, 2021, or until congressional appropriations are exhausted. Next slide, please. So the newly eligible entities that we added were housing cooperatives, destination marketing organization like those travel bureaus you go to. If you're traveling in a new city, certain 501c6 organizations such as Chamber of Commerce, and eligible news organizations. And we still have all of our same eligible entities from round one. Next slide, please. So what is second draw? Second draw is a little different than first draw. So the difference here is you have to have 300 employees or less, where first draw is 500 employees or less. But you do have to show a 25% reduction in gross receipts. So for most borrowers, the maximum loan amount will be 2.5 times the average monthly payroll of either, now you can pick your 2020 numbers or your 2019 numbers, and you are capped at 2 million max. Now, certain NAICS codes, 72 in the accommodation and food services, you can get a little more. We understand that those industries were hard hitting, and we want to make sure the people that need it the most get it as fast as we can. And to the maximum for them would be 3.5 times the average monthly payroll costs, either in 2019 numbers or 2020. Now, second draw applications, you should check with your lender on that, because some have an online portal, lender equivalent, but if not, you can go to SBA.gov /PPP, and then we have a special application on their SD-2483 SD for second draw. Next slide, please. So you must have previously had a first draw in order to get a second draw. The covered periods cannot overlap, meaning you got your loan, your funds were dispersed, and let's say you didn't use up all your money from your first draw. You cannot then get approved for a second draw until you use up all the loans from the loan money, the proceeds from your first draw. And once again, we talked about that you have to have 300 employees or less, and you must show, demonstrating with your financials, that you had a 25% reduction in gross receipts from a quarter in 2019 versus the same quarter in 2021, but the quarter is of your choice. Next slide, please. So how does it work? You would go to a PPP lender. Don't send your application to me. I get applications at district office, and it's going to take you longer. We are the government agency guaranteeing the loan. A lot of people don't understand what our role is here. You would work directly with your lender. I cannot approve or make any changes for you regarding your PPP loan. If you need to know who a lender is that's approved, we recommend you go to our SBA.gov /lender match. We also have a paycheck protection fine tool on our website. So we have great protocols to help you. Now, you would complete your application with your lender, and then the lender will communicate with the SBA. Remember, funding runs out. If it stands, remember the guidance is fluid. So right now it's March 31st, 2021. Next slide, please. So forgiveness, there were a couple changes for the Economic Aid Act. We uncoupled the EIDL Advance, that became a true grant. And we did have the expenses paid with PPP loans now are federally tax deductible. Check with your CPA, your accountant, IRS on that. Expanded forgivable expenses are permissible. We added like PPE, you put those plastic glass up, sanitizer, all that now can be included. And we have a new forgiveness, streamlined, simplified application of $150,000 or under. Next slide, please. So we also have our EIDL loan. I want to remind everybody, and that deadline has been extended per the Economic Aid Act, December 31st, 2021. This is different than PPP because it is a loan. You will be vetted, you will go through underwriting, you will have to show your numbers, but it's a great program, excellent terms, 3.75% fixed. Over 30 years, if you're a nonprofit, 2.75% fixed. Loans over $25,000 would be secured by a UCC filing, which is like a mortgage on your business. And as long as you were in business prior to that one is January 31st, 2020, and qualified small businesses, cooperatives, and agricultural enterprises with 500 or fewer employees. Next slide, please. So we have our targeted advance, just real quick. This is a new program. We will contact you if you are eligible. This is part of our strategy of getting the capital into the hands of those that need it the most, the quickest. And this will be targeting LMI, low to moderate income areas. So if you are in that, if you are in that market and you suffered greater than 30% economic loss, you have under 300 employees, could be potentially eligible for the EIDL Advance. And even if you got it the first time, but you only got, let's say, $2,000, you have the ability to get the difference up to $10,000, so potentially another $8,000. And the SBA will reach out to you directly on that. Next slide, please. So we have our SVO, our Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. This, as you can see, is for all the different entities that were in theater and museums and live venues and things like that. So zoos, I know you were hit the hardest, people, due to health directives, couldn't come out. That is starting soon. We have not started taking applications for that, but all information is on our website at SBA.gov/coronavirus relief. Next slide, please. We want you to stay connected with us. I want you to remember that everything I presented today is current as of today's date. We are building an airplane mid-flight. We are working really hard to make the changes that affect you positively. And we are here to help you in our local SBA South Florida District Office. Next slide, please. And it's the end of my presentation, and now it's Jackie's turn, and thank you so much. I'll stick around and answer some questions.
Thank you so much, and Jackie, you can get started. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting the SBDC to be part of this forum. We look forward to sharing whenever we can the work that we can do for the small businesses in the area. Again, I'm Jacqueline Ramirez, Regional Manager, Consulting and Communications. We have a team of about 15 consultants in the Palm Beach and Broward area that are backed by an additional number of 10 people helping us get our work done. What I wanted to do today is explain the role SBDC plays in working with the small business as a guide and a connector to all the funding programs that exist in the area. And to do that, let me just tell you a little bit about us and how we got started so you understand the role a little bit better about how we play. So about 45 years ago, going back a long time, there were two professors in California who sat on the advisory board with the SBA. And what they were finding as they worked with businesses in their area was there was a real need to provide consulting and guidance to these businesses at the level that the large organizations receive consulting, but were able to pay for it. Now, those organizations could pay for those consultants, but the small businesses couldn't. So in conversation with the SBA, they actually started the SBDC. And just a few years later, Florida was one of the next ones to come on board. And now we have 1,000 employees across the US and the territories that all form in teams that are hosted by the local universities. So you'll see in front of you now how we're laid out in the state, but these are the 6 categories of services that we provide. Access to capital, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but it's what we focus on is helping you connect with the right funding source for your business. Market growth, everything from coming up with an idea all the way to valuating your business for sale or valuating another business for purchase or retiring. What are you going to do with your business as you retire? International trade, helping you identify markets overseas that would be good for your service and your product, and then helping you with all of the planning and connecting that has to happen. Government contracting, if you want to be in the bid process for government funding and for government contracts to provide your services throughout the federal government, we also connect with state, local, county funding as well. Business continuity, like the pandemic, what do you have to do when it comes to securing your organization, when it comes to surviving in a disaster? How do we help you keep your doors open? And then strategic planning is everything from a basic business plan to actually looking at how you're going to pivot. How do you structure your leadership group? How do you structure your products and services and go after markets? And we have a phenomenal bank of resources as far as research. Next slide, please. Okay, in order for you to really connect with the number of resources we have, because like I said, that's 6 categories, but within each category, there's a whole list of services we provide. Excuse me. Think about where you are in the business life cycle. And starting at the bottom circle, We look at organizations who are pre-venture. They're exploring the feasibility of their idea. They're needing assistance establishing the business. They've not got any sales yet or employees, but they have ideas and plans. That would be pre-venture. Emerging, if you're a new business, but you're less than 3 years old, you're an emerging business. You've gotten through the pre-venture, you've hired employees, you have some revenue coming in. You're just starting to create your track record. In other words, excuse me again, you're just now starting to be able to demonstrate that your idea works. Or you may be in growth. You've been in business 3 years or less than, in less than 3 years with less than 3 years or more with less than 5 employees and less than $500,000 in annual sales revenue. So you hold promise. You've demonstrated through emerging your idea works. You're demonstrating now that you can grow this business. And then you have established, and those are 3+ years with more than 5 employees, $500,000 to $50 million in sales, significant capacity for continued growth. And the reason why it's important to understand where you are, although there are always outliers, is that sometimes that does dictate what fund you need to go after, what sort of capital access. Sometimes it dictates your eligibility for those funds. So we always want to make sure that you're going after the funds that you're most likely to receive. Next slide, please. So here are the actual services per area. So now that you know or you're thinking about what area you're in, these are the sort of things that we can do for you. So in pre-venture, concept analysis, business mapping, business formation, looking at your structure going forward, actually helping you think about, okay, where are you going to sell your service or your product? Are you looking at the right market? Are you being direct enough? In emerging, we have all the market analysis and research, which we would also use for pre-venture, but then we're looking at sales growth, capital access, whether it be grant, whether it be startup funds, leadership and team coaching, business planning, forecasting, cash flow management, a key piece that we need to work on, and business continuation planning. So if you look at growth and establish, what you're going to add to the emerging is export planning. Now you have the strength and the resources and the proven ability that you can start moving your products or services offshore. You also can get into government contract much more easily. Some emerging are able to do that, but mostly you need to be in the growth and established to prove that you're dependable. And then business valuation. And business valuation is a service we're just kicking off. We have our first webinar February 17th, introducing you to the concept and the process. And some individuals just need to know the health of their organization. So it's not necessarily just for selling the company, but what you can do is look at the health of your organization so you can start adjusting your plans going forward, your strategy in order to improve your ability to remain successful. Next slide, please. So here's your how we work with you, which is really important. We do a lot of work, the SBDC, on educating small businesses, educating them. So since this is about financial resources, this particular forum, this is how it would work with somebody looking for financials. We educate you on the different loans. We're a great partner. Debra's been a wonderful partner of ours with the SBA and keeping us up to date. We can educate you on those. We also, most of us are familiar with state, county, city, CRA funding programs and incubator programs. We actually are a partner. We sit in FAU, and we're a partner with the FAU Tech Runway, which has launch programs. We're mentors to the individuals who have gotten into those programs, and we can help you with applying to the programs as well. We do a business audit with you so we understand that your need and your eligibility, so we can guide you towards the correct funding source. We identify the funding institution and contacts for you. So once we do an audit and we understand what you need and what you have, we can go out, and what we do, we have 5 capital access consultants who will go out into the market and find the correct bank or financial institution or city, county, state program that fits you. And then we'll come back to you and say, these are the 2 or 3 that want to work with you, and we connect you. But we don't just connect you, we facilitate that relationship going forward. And then we stay on to mentor you, because once, just like our 45 years ago, we recognize that small businesses need that ongoing consulting and coaching at no cost. So it becomes a circle of services that occur over and over, and these are at no cost. At the end slide, there's going to be a CR code where you can actually go in, and when you click that with your camera or you with your computer, it'll actually connect you directly to registering for our services. Next slide, please. And they asked us to give you some tips about what we see as being needing that small businesses need to do or keep in mind. And one is to find and use a mentor, even if it's not us. You know, there's the Women's Center, there's a SCORE, there are a number of mentors out there. But find and use a mentor, stay with them, keep them up to date on what you're doing so that we can follow with you. We have a dentist that we stayed with over years, and every time it's time to update his equipment, we know when that time's coming up, and we start working with him on getting the proper funding to do so. Participate in city, county government, go on your commissioner's virtual meetings and see what's coming up in the area. I'm embedded in the Delray Beach area, and I actually watch for the CRA program updates, and that way I can go back and update all of my clients. Keep financial information organized and digital. This is a really key issue I found. I have clients who have been around for years, and their company is 50 years old. And what I found is when PPP hit and EIDL, when the pandemic hit and they needed to get PPP loans, they didn't have their documents digital. They couldn't find a lot of their documents. So a really good habit is to have your documents, your financial documents all together. And you can find out by just talking with us which ones are the most appropriate, and get them digitized so you can shoot them right in, because everybody's working that way now. Learn the key measures for your industry. We can do that research for you so you can start tracking where you sit profit margin wise, employee cost wise with other companies in your industry. And you can tell where you're in alignment or where you're falling behind, and then we can look at strategies to move you along. Maintain a credit score of around 680. If you're not there, let us work with you to figure out how to move in that direction. And if you're past it, feel good about it. Get to know your financial institution. And get to know them not just as who they are, but find people in there that you can get on a first name basis with. Because as we connect you, that makes it easier for us to help you through this process. Okay, next slide, please. And we also send out news on a regular basis as to what's going on in the community, in the small business community, and with the different programs that are out. You'll see that CR code, and that's where you'll be able to either now or later when you receive the deck, just click on that. It takes you right to registering for our services. And I want to just thank you for being on the call and hearing me out. I hope we see you registering, and I hope we get to work with you. Thank you very much.
Jackie, thank you for that, and thank the SBDC for all that you do and being a partner to so many of us with your tools and your resources and making them available to our small businesses. And two of the keys that she certainly mentioned, mentoring. If you can ever, as a business, especially in your industry, identify someone who's been where you're trying to go, who's familiar and who's willing to give back, who's willing to help you over some of those hurdles. It's not like completely remove it, but help you over those hurdles, because helping you over versus removing it also makes sure you begin to learn those lessons. And the best thing that could ever happen, you learn those lessons and move forward, and then you then can become the mentor yourself and help others. The second thing that she mentioned, guys and girls, in this day and age, we need to make sure all of our documentation, all of our financials are digital. We never want another COVID. We never want another catastrophe. But even without the COVID, as you're growing your business and you're seeking additional access to resources or access to capital or ready to graduate to another level, the transfer of your information is digital today. So we want to make sure that your information is in order and that you certainly understand where it is and what it is, and then make sure that we can move you to a digital platform where you can always pass that on to those who need it and those who can be of help. So thanks again for sharing that information. We're going to move right along. Our next presenter is Mr. Turk from the South Florida Regional Planning. Jeff, thanks for joining us, sir, and the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Sandy. I just want to say thank you for inviting me to such a great group of panelists here. They've all been upfront and certainly very helpful helping business owners, as I work with a few of them as well with our individual businesses. And we've had a long, successful relationship as well with Broward County and the Office of Economic and Small Business Development. So thank you again. Just a little bit about the South Florida Regional Planning Council. We are a regional planning and public agency. We are a state agency, and our mission is to work with South Florida's public, private, nonprofit, profit, and civic leadership to create a better South Florida, even during these pandemic times. Our council serves 3 counties, Broward, Miami-Dade, Monroe, and recently we just added Palm Beach County as well. Our agency currently serves over 71 municipalities and more than 4 million residents. As we know, during the pandemic times, things have rapidly changed. Population growth has been a significant factor, and we try to address the changing character of South Florida with our programs. The SFRPC is one of 10 regional planning councils in Florida. We have statutory responsibilities to work with local governments, develop regional impact studies and applications for review. Today, we're going to talk about 2 of our revolving loan funds. We do actually manage 3 revolving loan funds. 2 of them are our business revolving loan funds, which we'll speak about, which is our traditional and our CARES Act. We also have, worth mentioning, a Brownfield program for environmental remediation. I mention that because some business owners may be acquiring property, land, buildings that have environmental issues. There are low-cost loan funds available to help remediate those situations. So it's always worth mentioning. And we also have our CDFI program, which is in partnership with the Urban League of Broward County, and that helps with affordable housing needs. Since 2002, the RLF program has serviced more than 410 loans and provided funding to area businesses. Our loans help fund projects totaling over $112 million. The total amount loaned to these businesses was more than $37 million. As a result of these investments, more than 8,000 jobs have been created or saved, which is our main focus. And these projects were funded with RLF monies because conventional funding was not available. So today, if we can move on to the next slide, we will go ahead and discuss our traditional RLF. I know the flyer is up. It may be a little difficult for some to read, but this is all available on our website. This is our traditional revolving loan fund. This SFRPC knows its best economic development plan for the region is to support entrepreneurs and small and medium-sized businesses. We do focus on minority-owned businesses, and certainly it's open to all business owners, but we do focus on minority business owners as well. The loan sizes range between $25,000 and $500,000. The loan terms are specific based upon the borrower's ability to repay. The terms can range up to 15 to 20 years, and the financing purpose can range from working capital to equipment financing to real estate acquisition or build out. A lot of this type of program, just to give you an example, help contractors. If any of our participants today are contractors and they recently was awarded a contract from Broward County and they need financing to acquire the materials, raw materials, equipment to be able to execute that contract, this is a perfect program for that. We're able to finance those needs for those materials so you can complete the contract, deliver your goods and services, and repay the loan back once you receive the payment from the county or other customer that you are working with. So this particular program is not just for traditional real estate working capital, it's really to help those contractors in various industries that have recently won an award or a contract and need help with financing those the materials for that award. The interest rate varies. It's approximately 4.5% to 5%. It is based upon perceived credit risk, and collateral is also required as well as personal guarantees. The collateral is specific and suitable based upon the loan purpose. So we do discuss that when we are underwriting the loan. And we've helped a tremendous amount of businesses throughout South Florida. And this is really, again, for business owners that are unable to obtain financing from their traditional lenders. That's what this program is here for. It is a state program. These monies can also be combined with other monies received from other programs. If you did receive monies from one of our good partners like the SBA, this particular program can also be used in conjunction, and that's part of the underwriting. So this program is aimed at helping long-term viability and operational support for your existing business. Our website is on this form as well. We do have a dedicated website for our traditional RLF, and that is www.sfrpcrlf.org. That's sfrpcrlf.org. Next slide. I'd like to now just highlight our CARES Act. If you can keep going, those are the different sections from our traditional. Again, this is all available on our website. I know Broward County is trying to accommodate our viewers, and that's our contact information. So the next slide is our recently launched CARES Act. This is another program that we received, that we are working with the EDA, the Economic Development Administration. We were recently awarded $5.38 million to find and support businesses that have been impacted by COVID. These monies, if you are approved for a CARES Act through the SFRPC, can be used in conjunction with the SBA, PPP, or EIDL. So a lot of our borrowers that have been impacted have successfully obtained SBA financing or PPP loan and need longer-term operational support financing. This program is perfect for that. We want to keep those businesses that have been profitable and in business pre-COVID. We want to give them the resources to be profitable, to continue to be profitable for the long haul. The eligibility for this program for our CARES Act: small businesses, sole proprietors, 501c3s, and again, our footprint is Monroe, Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County as well. Collateral is also required, just like our traditional, as well as a personal guarantee. The interest rate is between 3% and 4%. The loan amount, similar to our traditional, between 25,000 and 500,000. Duration is up to 10 years, could be slightly a little longer if need be. It's discussed as well during the underwriting. Also very important, just like our partner at the SBDC, it's very important for you business owners to have your financial house in order. Your financials need to be readily available in digital, just like it was conveyed by the SBDC. So to make the underwriting process easier and on a timely basis. So you need to make sure you have your financial house in order. That means past tax returns, as well as current year-to-date financials. And if you do not have that, team up with a bookkeeper or a CPA or the SBDC and help get your financial house in order, because for the CARES Act monies, this is a 2-year program. It stays open as long as the monies are available or until the 2-year duration is up. The website address for this, another dedicated website, is www.caresactrlf.org. We do have all our applications online as well as these flyers. Please visit us, email us, and we hope to be able to work with as many of you as possible. Thank you.
Jeff, thank you, and thanks for sharing that information, and we'll certainly make sure to post all of that on our website where our viewers and even our other certified and non-certified businesses who are not with us this morning have access to that, understanding that as we come out of COVID, yet still dealing with the challenges of COVID and the economic strain, there is a need as we begin to pivot to start taking a look at long-term opportunities for reestablishing and stabilizing our businesses, and some of the loans that you just described, inclusive of what you have that aligns itself with even the CARES Act, is certainly a need for our small businesses. So thanks again for joining us. Next, we'll move on to Mr. Austin. Trey is going to represent the BBIF, and he'll give you more about those acronyms. But Trey, thank you for joining us today, and thank your organization for the support that you're now bringing down here to South Florida, knowing you have a rich history up in the Orlando area and beyond. So the floor is yours.
That is correct. And good morning, everyone. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to join these esteemed panelists. I'm definitely in great company and looking forward to extending, my relationship with each and every one of you. I think working and aligning ourselves with like-minded individuals, organizations, and entities is critical, especially given the times that we're in at this juncture. My name is Trey Austin. I'm the Senior Loan Officer with BBIF Florida. I've been working with BBIF nearly 3 years. My background is in corporate banking. So, when I discovered in CDFI, and I apologize for just taking this time briefly, but, I was always looking for an alternative to the small businesses in the communities that we weren't able to serve. And so, I knew that there had to have been some type of entity out there that can provide those types of financial resources to businesses that we weren't necessarily in a position to work with. And that's how I discovered a CDFI, and which led me to allowed to take this opportunity to extend my career at the Black Business Investment Fund, or BBIF Florida. Next slide, please. Next slide. Thank you very much. For those of you, next slide. Thank you. For those of you who are not familiar with my organization, BBIF is a community development financial institution, a nonprofit loan fund that provides lending and financial technical assistance to Black and minority and underserved small businesses throughout the state of Florida. We are a non-traditional lender, which means that credit is not necessarily an end-all be-all when it comes to working with you all to determine if your funding need is viable. We really want to get a good understanding of where your business is and how your business is positioned financially to determine if whether or not we can extend that opportunity to all of the businesses that have that funding need. Next slide, please. And again, our core services that we offer are access to capital and management consulting. Next slide, please. Okay. And so what you guys see here are our core products that we offer. We offer loans to Black businesses. If there's a Black business that has a 51% ownership or greater stake in the company, then we're able to utilize that loan fund to extend that opportunity. We also offer microloans, contract financing, new market tax credits, hurricane resiliency funding, and small business funding. So as you can see, we offer an array of products and loan funds to be able to fund just about any need that there is for any small businesses that expresses that need. And for the loans that we typically offer, they can range from anywhere between $10,000 to up to $300,000. And with our new market tax credit, we also have the capacity to extend loans to, from $500,000 to up to $2 million if there's an opportunity to do so. But I think perhaps the most important thing I would like for you all to know here is while lending it can be more transactional, in order for us to get a good understanding of what your financial needs are, we have to gain a better understanding of your business to determine how those funds can best be utilized to help you grow and sustain your small business. Next slide, please. And so what we like to say that is technical assistance basically begins the moment that we sit down with the business that expresses a funding need. I've heard several times throughout this presentation that getting your financial house in order is definitely one of the most important things. And what we found that with many of the small businesses that we work with, they may not necessarily have access to the resources that they need to position themselves to become a viable candidate for a traditional banker, and in some cases through our organization as well. So, and what we want to do is we want to just take that opportunity to work with that business and provide those resources to put themselves in a position where they can become bankable. And so through technical assistance, we're able to offer these services to our existing loan portfolio as well as our prospective customers. And I think given the current economic climate that we're in, leveraging these resources, training and partnering with entities such as the SBDC, and always staying tapped into the SBA, and as well as partnering with all of the other panelists in their various organizations is definitely critical when it comes to helping you all navigate through this crisis and survive this crisis as well. And so, as you can see here, the types of offerings that we provide to our clients it starts with financial training. Again, getting your financial house in order and developing strategies and educating yourself on what those needs are is definitely one of the first steps in terms of your growth as a small business owner. And so we definitely want to meet with you so we can begin training you and pointing you in the right direction and give you the tools that you're going to need to grow your business. And so in addition to that, we offer business management services, networking with like-minded individuals and other entities, as well as networking with other businesses that function within your industry, because as Sandy expressed earlier, mentorship is definitely a big part of your growth as a small business. And then also too, aligning yourself with an entity or a small business that operates in your industry, it can just be just as more impactful. Being able to share pain points and then express best practices is also a viable option for you all as well. And then finally, we offer the CEO Roundtable, where we provide business monthly coaching for the financial decision maker when it comes to sitting down with you all to really get a good understanding of what your strategy is on a monthly basis, and then offer the type of guidance and give you the prescriptive guidance to allow you to be able to then take that information and then apply what you have learned to help you continue your business moving forward. Next slide, please. And so as many of you know, there's a great deal of interest in this PPP loan program. And I think earlier on, the SBA did a masterful job of really being able to articulate exactly what the framework of that program is, and then also expressing that they are a guarantee of the loans. And as a PPP lender, we are the entity that will basically be administering and processing that loan for you guys. And so, obviously, I like to joke and say I'm like one of the most wanted individuals throughout the state of Florida, and rightfully so, because we're here to definitely help meet those needs and then better position ourselves where we can really be able to make sure that we're available to help as many small businesses as we can navigate through this crisis. And so, for the sake of time, what I would like to do is just read through these slides, because I know this information was given out earlier, but I think it's just as important for me to close with providing this information to you all, so you can tap into this resource as well as others to help you guys navigate through this crisis. And so, what is the Paycheck Protection Program? The Paycheck Protection Program is a loan designed to provide direct incentive for small businesses to keep their workers on their payroll. And so the SBA forgives loans if all employees are kept on payroll for 8 weeks, and the money is used for payroll, rent, and mortgage interest or utilities. Next slide, please. And so what the Paycheck Protection Program wants to do is just ensure that there's access to all of the small businesses that are in need. And one of the ways they've done that is early on when when PPP 2 rolled out, they opened it up on January 11th to CDFIs and minority CDCs and other institutions that really had a good finger on the pulse of the types of community small businesses that we serve. And so we were able to take that opportunity to take on applications prior to them opening it up to larger financial institutions. And so the SBA set aside $15 billion for first draw borrowers with a maximum of 10 employees for loans of $250 or less to borrowers that were in low to moderate income communities. Next slide, please. And so who can apply for a first draw? Sole proprietors, independent contractors, self-employed individuals, nonprofits, seasonal employers, faith-based organizations that have less than 150 employees, housing cooperatives that have less than 300 employees. Next slide, please. And so the intent of the program is also to help small businesses position themselves so they'll be able to take advantage of getting their loans forgiven. And so just as it was mentioned earlier, you can the loan duration can be up to from 8 to 24 weeks in that coverage period. However, if it's strategically advantageous for businesses to do so, within that period, they can also choose, as it was expressed earlier, 13 weeks, 15 weeks, or whatever is more applicable to how your business manages its payroll, and then what that timetable looks like for forgiveness. And so one of the key three, well, actually the key three things that you want to keep in mind here is that, you know, when it comes to forgiveness, that you want to maintain employee compensation levels. The loan proceeds need to be spent on payroll costs and eligible expenses. And at least 60% of the proceeds need to be used for payroll costs. Existing borrowers who did not receive loan forgiveness by December 22nd, 21, they have the opportunity to reapply. And then you can also reapply for First Draw PPP if existing funds were returned or unused. And you can also request to modify your first PPP draw if the full amount has not been accepted. Next slide, please. And so who can apply for a second draw? If you've previously received the first draw, you can apply. If your business has no more than 300 employees, you can apply. If you can demonstrate a revenue reduction of at least 25% in the first, second, or third quarter of 2020, you'll have that opportunity to apply as well. And if you've used or will use the full amount of your first draw of your PPP, and as it was mentioned earlier, you definitely want to, you will have to have exhausted all of those funds in order to be able to apply for a second draw. And then finally, if your business was operational before February 15th of 2020 and remains operational. Next slide, please. And so, as it was also mentioned earlier, because we are a PPP lender, you do have the option to tap into the resources that SBA has to fill out a PPP loan application. But we also have our own portal as a lender as well. And so this information, you know, as this information is being recorded, you can also tap into our website at bbifflorida.com. If you're in a position where you would like to apply for PPP, you know, I would definitely encourage you to do so. And again, if you want to also learn a little bit more about my organization and then also apply for a traditional loan as well, you can also visit our website, or all of my information all of my contact information is listed in the chat. So I would love to have a conversation with each and every one of you about where you are in your business, and really work with you to help determine if there is a need, so we can best be in a position to help you meet, may it be your funding or your technical assistance goals as a small business. Preparation is critical. Many of the small businesses that weren't able to tap into the PPP program, or even before this economic and health crisis came upon us, one of the things that I noticed as a loan officer is just really working with the businesses to help them understand that, you know, really positioning themselves financially will help them not only when it comes to developing a basis of understanding of what these financial institutions need in order to help them reach their financial goals, but also help them grow as a small business owner. And so I do know when, you know, we're throwing out, you know, year-to-date financials, you know, and then all of the other financial and technical jargon that's out there that can can also seem as if it's a daunting task for many of these small businesses. Many of you guys who are participating on this call are experts in your industry. And, I want to applaud you guys for really being bold enough to put yourselves in a position where you're leveraging your expertise to provide, a sustainable living situation for you and yourselves and your family. And so the next step in your growth and your evolution as a business owner is really taking the time to research the financial institutions and get a good understanding of exactly what those needs are and what is being asked of you to help position yourself for growth as a small business. And so again, I would like to end just by saying, take advantage of these opportunities that these panelists, as well as my organization, has to offer. We're here to work with you guys every step of the way. And, and bring your questions, do your research, and understand that we're here to take that time with you because we want to help see you guys continue to be successful. And then we also want to help you guys survive this crisis that we're in as well. So thank you all for your time, and please connect with me if you have any additional questions or needs.
Mr. Austin, thank you. Thanks for sharing that information on behalf of BBIF. Thanks for highlighting that one key aspect, which some of our other presenters also alluded to, but you put more emphasis there. Technical assistance. I know I spoke about making sure that your information is digitally prepared where you have access to it. But folks, the key, if you are a small business, when going after access to capital, any of the resources, and especially as we're going through this onset of availability of PPP and EIDL and others, it is about making sure you are aware, as well as you are in a position to apply for these funds. So you're hearing some of the organizations where, different than just completing an application and submitting, technical assistance is available. And that technical assistance is available because if they can prepare you to understand what's needed to submit an application now, it's that same preparedness that puts you in position as you begin to stabilize your business, grow your business, and look for additional resources. That same information is going to be valuable on those next times around. So be sure to use these organizations and their staff for the technical assistance. Again, these are one-on-one meetings. It's not about embarrassing. It's about knowing where you are, knowing who you are, and putting yourself in a position to be available to receive the resources that you need. So thanks again, Mr. Austin, for sharing that information. Our next speaker, which isn't our last speaker, but certainly a speaker that you want to hear from, is someone who's working closely with Broward County these days. And they always say the last but the greatest, or the last but the best. None of that, other than the fact that OESBD, like all the other presenters today, I professionally know everyone who has spoken today to be serious about what they do and serious about what they offer. And the thing that I like about all of them, and OESBD does a good job of this especially, is they are straight, no chaser. They're really willing to tell you like it is, because that's the best medicine for helping you to get to where you need to be. So our next speaker coming on behalf of NDC is OESBD Adeoke. And OESBD, the floor is yours. And thanks again, sir, for joining us.
No, thank you so much, Sandy. I always enjoy these webinars. I appreciate you inviting me all the time. Thanks to your team for putting this together, and thanks to the speakers that went before me. Thank you, Debra, Jackie, Jeff, and Trey. I certainly look forward to building a stronger relationship with all of you to better help the small businesses that are in South Florida, specifically in Broward County. My name again is OESBD Adeoke. I'm an assistant director at National Development Council. I am based out of New York City. However, when things were normal, I traveled very often to South Florida to do the work that all of us enjoy so much, and we can't get enough of. We do have staff in Florida, in South Florida, that helps work on all of our loan programs or all of our technical assistance activities, and you will certainly be able to reach anyone and someone from NDC at any point if you need any assistance. Again, Oseremi, based out of New York and representing NDC. A quick background on NDC for those that don't know: NDC is a national nonprofit that was founded in 1969, really with a mission to direct capital to support the development of affordable housing, create jobs through small business lending, and advance livable communities with social infrastructures and hands-on technical assistance. We operate across the country. As of 2019, we've been involved in almost $1 million in affordable housing projects. We've lent over $300 million in small business loans, excluding PPP, and we work in over 100 communities across the country, including Broward and all of Florida. As it relates to small business lending in particular, NDC operates 2 community development financial institutions. I'm sure you've heard that term many times. You've probably heard it as CDFI. We operate 2 of them, focused primarily on lending programs that are designed to improve and increase job creation in low income and underserved communities. The first of the 2 is Grow America Fund, Inc., which is based out of New York, but has an SBA license to make loans across the country in all 50 states. And we do make loans under the SBA 7A program in particular. And since the pandemic has started and the CARES Act has been pulled out, we've participated in PPP in the first what they call the first round. We participated in the second round, and now in the third tranche, what they call the second draw. We are participated in that round as well. So if you do wish to apply for the PPP loan, I'm not going to go into the details of the program since my colleagues have done a great job of doing that. But if you do wish to apply and you're still seeking a lender at this point, we are open to accept an application, and you can visit our website at ndconline.org/PPP/ is our PPP link to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program. It's been an interesting journey over the last month, I think, particularly with this third round or second draw of PPP. We're focusing a lot more on smaller dollar loans. Our average loan size, I believe, in the first couple of rounds was upwards of $65,000. And in this round, I've done a lot more $2,000, $3,000 loans, and also provided more technical assistance. So what that tells us is there is a need out there for the work that we do, the work that we all do. And I encourage you to definitely tap into the resources that are available to you to help your small businesses stay afloat in the middle of the pandemic, but more importantly, grow as after the pandemic. Today, I wanted to talk about, outside of PPP and the SBA program, I wanted to talk about a program that we recently launched in partnership with Broward County government. So Sandy and his team have worked closely to make sure this program is well fitted, as well as the Urban League of Broward County, and it is the Broward County Municipal Service District Revolving Loan Fund. And it's a loan fund specifically to businesses and for businesses in the BMSD district. It's a partnership, again, with between NDC, the Broward County Office of Economic and Small Business Development, as well as the Urban League of Broward County, to assist existing and new BMSD businesses, as well as property owners and entrepreneurs that are interested in starting new businesses or expanding and growing their existing businesses, to tap into some well-needed financing and capital to help them. It again is a new small business lending program, and it provides flexible, low-cost capital for the businesses in this area. The loan sizes ranges from $3,000 to as large as $150,000 for really anything you can think about, from working capital to lease and improvement, to purchase real estate, to refinance high-interest debt. And again, for businesses in a startup stage to growing businesses. You must be located in a BMSD district, which covers Central County, Broadview Park, and North County. And it is a cash flow loan. It is not a forgivable loan unlike PPP, but it is a cash flow based loan. So we are looking for cash flow either in a historical period, in an interim period, or in some cases in a projected periods Personal guarantees are going to be required for owners that own 20% or more of the business, similar to most lending programs that are out there. And we do require a minimum credit score of 620. But again, the credit score in itself isn't a main determining factor. We want to dig into your credit reports and your credit history and really understand the reason why your score is what it is, and we'll work with you. The goal is to get the money out the door. The goal is to help the businesses in this area that have been impacted by COVID or are looking to grow, but more importantly, that have been shut out of other lending programs and have not been able to take advantage of those programs. You can visit our website again at ndconline.org to learn more about this program and apply if you are in the BMSD district and believe that you will qualify. Again, the loan ranges in size from $3,000 to as large as $150,000. And it gives you an opportunity to build a relationship with NDC and take advantage of the other programs that we have in and outside of the BMSD, as well as outside of Broward County, outside of Florida. Again, we're a national nonprofit lending across the entire country, relatively in pretty much every state, and over 100 communities across the country. So we do have tons of programs that we are already participated in or are in, and I know of a few that we're working to create that your business can certainly benefit from and take advantage of. So this gives you an opportunity to build that relationship with us. In addition to the lending itself, NDC does provide technical assistance, whether that through partnerships with local organizations such as the Urban League and other local organizations, but also through our training facility, which we have one located in Cincinnati, offering trainings to not only business owners through several courses, but also to economic development individuals through our many certification programs. So a relationship with NDC gives you an opportunity to not only be able to obtain financing for your business, but also to learn the ropes on how to run your business. We have classes, namely Cash Reigns Supreme, which teaches you about cash flow and how to manage cash in your business as you grow. We also have a training program called How to Get a Loan, which teaches you how to prepare to go meet a lender, what documentations you need to prepare and be ready to submit to a lender, and really how to speak to your numbers and how to speak to the risk that you are presenting to the lender and how those risks can be mitigated and what you're going to do to mitigate it. As I've said on pretty much every webinar that I've been on, it's every lender wants to get repaid. Every lender is not, frankly, no matter even if we're CDFI or not, and have a mission to lend to a particular demographic or businesses in a particular area. I think all of us want to get paid back. That's how we are as a CDFI is able to borrow from the big banks to lend back to you. That's how we are able to keep and sustain our operations. So we do want to get paid back. And if you can go to a lender or a loan officer and present them not only a business plan, but a business plan that has in it really line items and how they can get repaid and what risk you're presenting to them and how you plan to mitigate those risks, gives you a high probability of getting a loan. And no lender is I don't think, gonna turn you down if you've identified your own risk and found mitigates to mitigate them. I think that's super important. And one last thing I would say is that with all that's happening in the economy, I understand that there are many companies out there and individuals that are taking advantage of small businesses, offering assistance for several to help you package loans or help you apply for PPP that you may not qualify for. And I've seen it happen. Just be careful who you trust. Be careful who you trust with not only your business, but be careful who you trust with the information that you share with them. There are a lot of folks out there that are taking advantage of businesses right now. So please connect with trusted partners such as the SBDCs, with NDC, with BBIF, with Broward County government, who will point you in the right direction. With the SBA, who will point you in the right direction and connect you with the right partners that can help you attain a loan or offer the technical assistance that you need to get your business to the next level. Most of these services are free, so you, in many cases, do not have to pay anyone. And I'm not advocating that you should never pay anyone. What I'm saying is just think through it and be careful who you trust. And I'll leave you, the last thing I would say is with all the programs happening right now, loan officers and lenders are extremely busy. We are having, frankly, capacity issues at this point. And NDC in particular has hired, frankly, more contractors in the last 12 months than we actually have full-time employees right now. What that means is that time is of the essence. So when folks call or email you, please respond. If you're interested in a specific program, I think at NDC do a great job at reaching out and communicating with every single borrower. We're going to call you. We're going to call you multiple times, and we're going to continue to try. However, there's a limit to it. And I do encourage you to be by your phone, be by your computers and your cell phone, to make sure that you're responding as quickly as possible to emails and responding as quickly as possible to phone calls, as it's the next deal up if we're not able to reach you. And you want to be able to take advantage of these programs if you do qualify and meet the requirement. Again, my email is on the screen, and feel free to reach out to me. I try to make myself as available as possible to anyone. I'm always willing to have a conversation to help you think through lending options and what opportunities are out there. And again, thank you, Sandy, and your team for inviting me.
Osiremi, thank you for joining us again today, sir, and some very valuable points that you laid out. And that last point, just to put a little bit more emphasis before we go to Q&A, is the idea of our small businesses taking advantage of all the resources. You just heard this morning from the SBA, the SBDC, the BBIF, South Florida Regional Planning. You heard from NDC. We're talking about Urban League in the area, some of our smaller banks, First Horizon in the area, Legacy in the area. We're talking about our credit union. A lot of folks, a lot of institutions, a lot of entities who are available to not only offer lending information and actually be lenders, but technical assistance. So again, we believe and we advocate for small business. There are some reputable small businesses that are in position to offer for a fee technical assistance to our businesses. But what Osiremi said is spot on. Before you do that with any business, you have to feel comfortable with that business, with their reputation, with their referrals, with that fee charge, because just as much as information is out here free and available, again, not against any small business who is actually providing a quality service, but as the individual looking to receive that service, you got to feel comfortable with whom you're working with. So with that, I'm thanking all of our speakers, and now we're going to go into our Q&A. I know some of them was answered as we were going throughout the workshop. Many of our presenters have been going back and forth answering questions, so thank you for doing that. But on the floor right now, Vanetta or Ms. McCall, if we have any questions specifically for any of the speakers, let us have them and let us get some answers.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for your support and participation of this morning's workshop. We do have, let me see, I think as you mentioned, Mr. McDonald, the majority of the questions had been answered by the presenters. Just let me double check really quickly to make sure that there was none that have been missed. No, I don't see any that have gone unanswered. If anyone has any additional questions at this time, please feel free to type them in the Q&A box so they can be read aloud and answered by the panelists.
And while they do that, Ms. McCall, why don't you tell our listening audience about your upcoming rise in March?
Certainly. So March will be Women's History Celebration Month. So we'll be partnering with the SBA regarding a RISE workshop that'll be specifically geared towards women and women business owners. So that workshop, Vanetta, I believe the link is open for that, or it will be opening after this workshop concludes, the RISE 3. So we'll be setting registration for that. So if you have an interest in learning more about the SBA and resources specifically for women-owned businesses, that will be a phenomenal workshop that we will be hosting on March 5th. And again, Vanetta, is that link open just yet?
It will open tomorrow.
I do see 2 questions that have been added. So the first one is from Mr. Howard Berkowitz. So it does not matter if it is a fiscal or calendar year. Is that correct? I'm not sure what he's referenced to. what specifically, but he's asking if it matters if it's fiscal or calendar year.
He's asking relevant to his business and applying if he's speaking to the PPP when you had to show the 25% reduction.
Yes, he's just added that in the chat, Mr. McDonald.
Okay.
25% business reduction.
Okay, what he needs to understand is that is comparing quarter to quarter. I did answer him. So he has to take a corresponding quarter in 2019 and compare it. For example, if he chooses third quarter, he looks at third quarter in 2020. That's all they're looking at as far as, gross receipts. And I can read him, if he would like, what gross receipts means. For nonprofit businesses, gross receipts generally are all revenue in whatever form received or accrued. So it doesn't matter if it's cash or accrual, from whatever source, including the sales, of products or services, interest, dividends, royalties, rents, fees, or commissions produced by returns and allowances, but excluding net capital gains and losses. He should also refer to, we have a great borrower resource on our SBA.gov PPP. When you are applying for PPP, it literally will walk you through step by step on what to include with your application and make sure you're eligible and get your loan amount. It's called How to Calculate Maximum Loan Amount. Thank you.
Ms. McCall?
Yes. So there is another question regarding, are there any grants available to S Corps? I understand S Corps are not PPP eligible.
I'm happy to jump in on that. I don't know of any grants. I'll let others speak to the grant, but S Corps are eligible for PPP. They just have to have payroll. They're not ineligible, but if you are S Corp and you have payroll, payroll again is the guide to Paycheck Protection Program. If you have payroll, you do absolutely qualify.
Thank you for answering that, Mr. Adekoye. Additionally, there's a question, could the presenters give a quick overview of how lenders, one of the presenters provided a quick overview of how lenders take into consideration what businesses get priority in lending? Is it only minority business considerations or size of the business, et cetera? So what factors factor into priority with regards to lending?
I'll answer for NBC. As a nonprofit and a community development financial institution, we focus primarily on minority-owned businesses and businesses that operate in low-income areas. Doesn't mean we don't lend to everyone. We do. We just focus primarily on them. Frankly, our CDFI certification requires that at least 65% of the businesses we lend to be minority or be operating in a low-income area. So when applications come in, we prioritize those businesses before others. In lending in general, it just all depends on the lender, the type of lender, their mission. For us, that is our mission, and that's what we give priority to. But doesn't mean we don't lend to everyone.
Excellent. Anyone else want to chime in about their practices?
Yes, this is Trey, and I'll also second everything that Osemi expressed as well. We are a mission-driven lender, so the businesses that we serve are Black and minority-owned businesses, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if there is a need, then we would definitely make ourselves available to be able to to help you with your funding needs. So it doesn't necessarily mean we won't be able to help you out. A percentage of our loan portfolio, and what we are governed by as a nonprofit, ours is at 70% or greater if necessary, to be able to provide loans to small businesses that align with our mission, but we can certainly help if you have a need.
I'll also chime in on that. We have a great program called our Community Advantage Program, and that is over the large umbrella, our 7A, that is facilitated through our mission-based lenders. And one of our missions to create that program is to help the underserved markets. So I use the term priority loosely, but you get sort of extra not incentive, but it's what the program was designed for. So we want to target that market. So if it's Black business owners, Hispanic business owners, women, people that live in rural communities, believe it or not, first time, new businesses, startups, and also veterans. So that's, we're prioritizing per se on that program. That's who we target. And I know a lot of the CDFIs here with me are potentially eligible to do those programs. Thank you.
Correct.
Sure, and this is Jeff Tart. Just wanted to also add that as a state agency, we have our two programs. Our CARES Act is certainly forth and center to be able to help all businesses, small business, medium-sized businesses that have been impacted by COVID. Our priority is to help those essential businesses that are the true backbone of the South Florida economy, and all other businesses not deemed essential have access through our traditional RLF. So we cover both bases with our two programs.
And just a comment, this is Jackie. As you listen to the panelists, who all are really good resources, keep in mind that all of the programs have different eligibilities, different focuses, or a different focus. And what we do is we get to know who all these individuals are, and the funds that are available, and the details on those funds or those grants. So what we're able to do is, based on your needs and your stage in your development as a company, identify where the potential grants or funding might be, and then work with you in those fund programs to make that connection. So there's a lot out there. If you need funding, don't get frustrated if you're looking for funding, can't quite find what you need, because we can help you do that.
Great, thank you for all of those responses. I do see two additional questions. One with regards to nonprofit organizations. Are there any specific programs to assist nonprofit organizations?
So it's speaking from the SBA perspective, yes, they can apply for EIDL, they can potentially apply for PPP. Like Jacqueline reminded everybody, there is specific eligibility, and you have to be a certain designation, 501c, 501c3s versus 501c6s. You have to make sure that you're eligible for that program. But yes, nonprofits for EIDL, they get 2.75% fixed over 30 years. And that's an amazing program if they could qualify, and that is for operational expenses. It's different than PPP. That is a true loan. Thank you.
And depending on where your nonprofit is located, in addition to PPP and EIDL, in New York, we are running a program called the New York Forward Program. So if you are in New York, nonprofits can qualify. And we are currently working on a similar program that I cannot speak to, but should be up and running in the next month and a half, and I'll be happy if you reach out to provide more information on that. But nonprofits will qualify for loans up to $100,000 through this program.
Nice.
Great. And so there was a follow-up question. And so just in reference to what the EIDL program, it's the EIDL Economic Injury and Disaster Loan Program. Just there was a question clarifying what that was. And then the last question that I currently see, and thank you, Debra, I see that you put that information in there regarding where that EIDL information can be located. So there was one additional question, and someone did touch on it briefly about veterans, but there was a question about what avenues are there in this realm with regards to funding for folks with disabilities and or veteran populations.
Okay, this is Trey. I'll just jump right in there. One of the things that many financial institutions and community development financial institutions as well has recognized is that, once PPP has run its course, or even EIDL to a certain extent, there is going to continue to, there's going to be a continued need to provide low cost and flexible lending for small businesses. And what has come out of this is there is a veterans collaborative that we are participating in as well. And they're in the process of developing a loan fund that will target veterans in particular. And so it's right now they're finalizing the stages before it goes to market. I'm thinking that by mid-year, the fund will be operable. Don't take my word for that. There's still a lot of fluidity to the way that they're putting together that loan fund. But I say that to say that, yes, if not now, then there's certainly going to be some programs that's going to be targeting veterans and small business owners with disabilities as well. It's just a matter of time. And so please reach out to me if you want to have a further discussion about that. But there's certainly some opportunities out there for veterans.
Thank you. Thank you, Trey. Is there any other feedback regarding the veterans opportunities? Okay, so it looks like one additional question. So Ms. Jackie Ramirez touched on the different stages that businesses go through in their growth. Are these different stages of business growth based on the number of employees, revenue, years since inception? They're trying to inquire how these different stages of growth are determined or based on.
Okay, thank you. Actually, it can be a mix. That's the closest that we can define some differences between the groups. We look at the 5 employee, we look at the amount of revenue and just basically where they are in incorporating and expanding their business. But you do have outliers. I have one team that I mentor that's only been in business for a year, but because of the market they went after and the product that they delivered, they're already at close to $1.8 million in revenue. And they come from, the owners are experienced business owners. They've started other businesses. So we tend to move them into more of the growth segment, even though they've only been in business for a year. So it's, we start with helping you understand what the possible segment for you is, but then we also look at the big picture with you. What have you done in the past? What is your business experience? Not only what is your revenue, but what's your forecasted revenue? To put together the full picture on where you stand and what we can do for you.
Excellent. And so at this time, I don't see any other questions. One just popped up. Are there any good resource referrals on bootstrapping?
Well, this is Jackie. When we work with pre-venture, we spend time on that as being one of the elements that might be your way to grow your business. We have a webinar that we do monthly for pre-ventures, and startups, where we talk about the different ways to fund your business. And that is one of the topics that we actually cover, bootstrapping. So if you go to the SBDC website, you can actually go in and register, whether you're a client or not, into those webinars. And also, if you register and work with a consultant, they can talk you through some bootstrapping options.
Great, thank you for that response, Ms. Ramirez. At this time, I don't see any additional questions. There will be a survey here in just a few moments. If you please, we'll just take a few minutes to make sure that you answer that. It allows us to get an accurate assessment of how you viewed this information. Again, it's our goal and objective as an office to provide information to you that is going to be useful and beneficial and of good use of your time. So this allows us to get direct feedback from you to see how we have done with providing such information. And so without any other feedback from myself, Mr. McDonald? Thank you, Trey. Is there any other feedback regarding the veterans opportunities? Okay, so it looks like one additional question. So Ms. Jackie Ramirez touched on the different stages that businesses go through in their growth. Are these different stages of business growth based on the number of employees, revenue, years since inception? They're trying to inquire how these different stages of growth are determined or based on.
Okay, thank you. Actually, it can be a mix. That's the closest that we can define some differences between the groups. We look at the 5 employee, we look at the amount of revenue and just basically where they are in incorporating and expanding their business. But you do have outliers. I have one team that I mentor that's only been in business for a year, but because of the market they went after and the product that they delivered, they're already at close to $1.8 million in revenue. And they come from, the owners are experienced business owners. They've started other businesses. So we tend to move them into more of the growth segment, even though they've only been in business for a year. So it's, we start with helping you understand what the possible segment for you is, but then we also look at the big picture with you. What have you done in the past? What is your business experience? Not only what is your revenue, but what's your forecasted revenue? To put together the full picture on where you stand and what we can do for you.
Excellent. And so at this time, I don't see any other questions. One just popped up. Are there any good resource referrals on bootstrapping?
Well, this is Jackie. When we work with pre-venture, we spend time on that as being one of the elements that might be your way to grow your business. We have a webinar that we do monthly for pre-ventures, pre-ventures and startups, where we talk about the different ways to fund your business. And that is one of the topics that we actually cover, bootstrapping. So if you go to the SBDC website, you can actually go in and register, whether you're a client or not, into those webinars. And also, if you register and work with a consultant, they can talk you through some bootstrapping options.
Great, thank you for that response, Ms. Ramirez. At this time, I don't see any additional questions. There will be a survey here in just a few moments. If you please, we'll just take a few minutes to make sure that you answer that. It allows us to get an accurate assessment of how you viewed this information. Again, it's our goal and objective as an office to provide information to you that is going to be useful and beneficial and of good use of your time. So this allows us to get direct feedback from you to see how we have done with providing such information. And so without any other feedback from myself, Mr. McDonald?
Thank you, Ms. McCall, and thank all of you who were listening today, who were asking questions. Hopefully you got your questions answered. Again, you'll be able to go to our website and get the contact information for each one of our presenters and their organizations. And please listen to what they said, follow up on what they said, and always, you are the best advocate for you and your business. You know more about you than we ever will. But when you begin to work with us, when you begin to work with the presenters and their organizations today, you have to also be honest about what your needs are and where you are so that they can help you make a decision. about which tools, which resources are best for you, but also how to stabilize and grow your business. So again, please answer our survey. We would love to get your feedback. But thanks again to each one of our presenters, and you're really special on behalf of Broward County for taking of your time and representing your organization, and more importantly, truly being available. I can say that, guys and girls, everyone on this call, every one of the presenters today are genuine and authentic about being available and helping small businesses the best they can. So thank you again for presenting. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.